Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're exploring a massive, and I mean absolutely massive, paradigm shift in how we approach the absolute fullness of life and peak performance. We're going to be digging into some deeply fascinating insights drawn from Jim Murphy's book, Inner Excellence. And let me tell you right up front, this isn't just about, trying harder, putting in more reps, or just gritting your teeth and pushing through the pain. No, this is about a complete rewiring of the heart and mind to unlock extraordinary potential that honestly most of us don't even realize we have.
To really wrap our heads around this, we need to start with a story that is just visceral and totally wild. So picture this. You wake up in the early hours of the morning, you're in a dark alley in Flint, Michigan. You have a fractured skull, and your brain is actually bleeding in 3 different areas. That is exactly where professional water ski jumper Ryan Dodd found himself on June 27, 2011. But what makes this whole situation even more shocking is what happened right before it. Literally, just hours prior to waking up in that alley, Ryan was standing on top of a podium holding the King of Darkness gold medal high in the air after one of the biggest victories of his entire life.
So Ryan is rushed into emergency surgery to alleviate the pressure on his skull, which leaves us with a pretty burning question. How do you go from a fractured skull to a world record? Because after a miraculous recovery, Ryan didn't just survive. He didn't just get back on the water. He completely dominated his sport. He won the biggest events of his career, he broke the world record in 2017, won 3 consecutive world championships, and became #1 in the world. And here is the absolute kicker, the detail that totally blew my mind. His physical workouts and his training volume stayed exactly the same as they were before the injury. So the fundamental difference for Ryan wasn't some crazy new physical training regimen. The secret to his unbelievable comeback was finding a completely different way of seeing the world. He adopted a framework called Inner Excellence, which is detailed in the source material we're covering today. It's a system that completely flips how we pursue peak performance, transforming not just how we think, but what we actually choose to think about on a daily basis. Okay, let's dive into this, because this isn't just some one-off miracle for a single water skier. Take a look at 3-time PGA Tour winner Vaughn Taylor. He says, "Inner excellence changed how I see the world, how I think, and how I play golf." We're talking about a methodology used by world-class athletes across vastly different sports, from NHL hockey players all the way to veteran PGA Tour caddies, to fundamentally alter their mindset and find clarity under immense high-stakes pressure. Section 1. Extreme Pressure. From feudal Japan to today. To truly understand this pressure, we're going to step way back in time for a second. We have 2 incredibly contrasting historical tales here. First up is Koyama Bunpatro. He was a samurai who had devoted his entire life to a selfless warrior code, commanding honor and respect. But then, in 1867, 2.5 centuries of samurai rule just ended. His elite lifestyle vanished completely abruptly. And because Bunpatro's identity and his self-worth were entirely attached to his status, which is a temporary thing he ultimately couldn't control, his heart was just crushed and he tragically spiraled into alcoholism. But his son, Yoshitaka, watched this happen and realized chasing power was a dangerous trap. Instead, Yoshitaka shifted his course. He realized the true fullness of life comes not from having power over others, but from empowering others. Through that realization, he gained deep, lasting contentment. And it's actually worth noting here, the author of our source material is Yoshitaka's great-grandson. So this deep family history fueled a huge realization for the author. Think about your own life for a second. The quality of it isn't rooted in your job title or your external achievements. It's actually rooted in 3 very specific elements. First, your inner world. So that's your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and desires. Second, your frame of reference, which is kind of the mindset or the lens through which you view reality. And third, your relationships. These 3 elements form the absolute bedrock of everything you experience in life. And this brings us to a brilliant connection, because the 3 elements that determine the quality of your performance mirror those life elements exactly. First, belief, what you believe about yourself and what is actually possible for you. Second, focus, your ability to be fully, 100% engaged in the present moment with your heart, mind, and body. And third, freedom, the ability to play like a curious kid, excited for challenges rather than being fearful of them. Do you notice how deeply these performance elements mirror the life elements we literally just talked about? This brings us to a massive revelation the author had after spending 2.5 years researching in relative solitude out in the Sonoran Desert. He realized that the pursuit of extraordinary performance and the pursuit of the best possible life are the exact same path. It's wild, right? So often, we're playing the wrong finite game. We chase short-term wins and temporary happiness. But true peak performance, the kind that wins world championships,
and a deeply fulfilling life both originate from the exact same inner place.
Section 2. Reorient inner world, adjusting your lens.
So how do we actually change our path? Well, it starts with adjusting the lens through which we perceive reality. For example, if I ask you what you see right here, your immediate automatic thought is probably going to be, well, it's a pipe. But as the famous painter René Magritte pointed out with this illusion, it's actually not a pipe at all. You can't stuff it with tobacco, and you certainly can't smoke it. It is merely a picture of a pipe. It's just a representation.
This simple concept introduces a massive paradigm shift. The map is not the territory. The world you see and interact with every single day isn't objective reality. It's really just the mental map your mind created based on how you personally interpret events. So the problem you're facing right now in life or in a competition is rarely the actual problem. The real problem is how you are thinking about it.
So the crucial point is that if our reality is shaped by our mental maps, we systematically have to discard the old limiting beliefs that distort that map and attach our self-worth to temporary outcomes. We have to drop these 3 old presuppositions immediately. Number 1, I am my thoughts. False. You are not the fleeting, sometimes negative thoughts that just flash through your mind. Number 2, my value is based on my results. Again, false. Your self-worth does not fluctuate based on your performance. And number 3, the best performers were born that way. Absolutely not. Incredible abilities are built through hard work, deliberate practice, and controlling your desires.
Section 3. 10 Presuppositions. Empower your mindset.
Once we clear out all that old baggage, we need to replace it with something much stronger. The first major shift is realizing there is no failure, only feedback. Our culture loves to label success and failure as total opposites, right? But they're actually incredibly interrelated. Your ability to maximize your potential and grow is tied directly to your ability to embrace failure, not as an attack on your worth, but simply as essential data to help you improve. Now, think about what usually holds us back from embracing that feedback. It's fear. But where does that fear actually come from? The source material argues a deeply fascinating point. Self-centeredness is the root cause of fear. When we get in our own way, whether that's crippling self-consciousness before a big presentation, overanalyzing every single email you write, or even just pure arrogance, it all stems entirely from a self-centered fear of what other people think of us.
So how do we escape this trap of fear and endless overanalysis? Well, ask yourself, what if you are not your mind? We touched on this earlier, but it is a profoundly empowering realization. Your mind is simply a part of you that needs to be trained, just exactly like you train your body. When you realize you are not your mind, you can detach from those useless negative thoughts. You gain the power to consciously train your mind to focus on empowering patterns instead.
And all of this ties the presuppositions together into one ultimate truth about performance. The person with the most control of their inner world has the most power. True mastery in any competition, whether it's flying off a water ski ramp, putting on a golf course, or just navigating your daily life, doesn't come from forcing external outcomes. It comes from the complete surrender of the ego. When you let go of your self-centered fears, you create a rock-solid foundation for actual success.
Section 4. Heart first, performance second.
To get the order of operations correct in our lives, it literally all boils down to this ultimate thesis. Inner world first, outer world follows. For so long, most of us have had it completely backwards. We try desperately to be successful in the outer world so that we can finally, hopefully, feel happy and peaceful inside. But as the sources show us, if you focus on cultivating an inner world filled with love, joy, and peace first, it will naturally and exponentially maximize your outer performance. The external results are just a natural byproduct of internal mastery.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really chew on today. Who is really in control of your inner world? Is it your unexamined fears? Is it society's ever-changing definition of success? Or is it you? Mastering your own inner excellence isn't some quick overnight fix. It's a lifelong, deliberate journey of rewiring your heart and mind. But as we've seen from the incredible stories today, it really is the only true path to both extraordinary performance and the absolute best possible life. Thank you so much for joining me, and I highly encourage you to take a hard look at your own mental maps today.